You don't have to put up with it. You can find things that can be seriously helping. I can ignore my tinnitus so much better than I did 20 years ago. I feel like I've not only met my goal, but I've surpassed it. The maskers, I was shocked. I noticed that I wasn't obsessing about the sounds. I would say within the first 2 weeks.
Today, we're joined by Linda, who's had tinnitus for over 30 years. For most of that time, it was something she could easily manage and often ignore. But towards the end of last year, as life brought a series of stressful events, her tinnitus took a sudden and troubling turn. The volume increased, the intensity grew, and it became a daily presence that she couldn't ignore. Though her hearing was perfectly normal through a hearing test, the increased awareness of her tinnitus made her start to worry. Linda took actions before things got worse. After searching for solutions and finding little help from her local audiologist and ENT, she discovered Treble Health, our team. She was drawn to our approach because it didn't offer quick fixes, but rather a comprehensive strategy for managing tinnitus. Linda knew there was no cure, but she was determined to find a way to manage it effectively. Today, she's here to share her story, how she went from fearing the worst to taking control of her tinnitus, and how working with Treble Health and the Tinnitus 180 program was an important part of that. Linda worked with Dr. Brienne Shorts on our team, and that was crucial for her improvement. Linda, I want to start with your story right when things started to get really intense with tinnitus. What was going on in your life, and what were those first symptoms that you heard?
Well, I had a number of stressful events come. I had been my dad's caregiver for quite some time, but he started to get progressively worse. We found out that he had Parkinsonian's dementia, and things kind of cascaded down from there. And then, unfortunately, he had a very major stroke and then passed away from that. So all that time taking care of him leading up to that was an extremely stressful time in my life. And then dealing with all of his estate afterwards, because that took quite a while to close out. And then I just noticed that my tinnitus was getting louder. I had always been very good at ignoring it during the day, but I noticed that it was creeping into my daily life now. I would be aware of it. I would be sitting at my desk or just even in the living room, and places that I would never really notice it before. And I thought, wow, that's kind of a lot like tinnitus. But I'll come back to that later because I'm busy taking care of my dad. Well, when he passed away, the tinnitus did not subside. And I started going back to what I had learned with him, and I started realizing I need to address this now.
Around that time, if you could rate your tinnitus intensity from a scale of 1, not bothersome at all, essentially don't hear it, to 10, severe, extreme problem, where would you have rated your tinnitus level at that time?
At night, it was, oh my God, I would put it like at a 9 or 10. It was roaring. And I had to have like a fan right next to me, a little desktop fan to really quiet it. During the day, I would have put it at more like a 6 because
Okay.
there was a lot of noises going on, or just daily activity would help distract me from it.
We want to hear about what actually helped you get better, and you can share some tips to those listening. You can share tools that worked for you. But to give us an expectation of how much better did you get? If at night it was a 10 out of 10 intensity and impact, during the day 6 out of 10, where are you now?
Oh, easily like a 1 or a 2. At night, it might creep up to like a 3 or 4, but the sound machine easily masks it. I don't even have to have it that loud. And during the day, I'll go through hours where I'm not aware of it at all. And all of a sudden, I just go, oh, okay. And then I'll go about my business and I start ignoring it again. It's very easy for me to divert from it. Yeah, it's not in any way intrusive.
Okay, so let's talk about that. What did you use to get better, and how long did it take?
When I came in and first talked to Dr. Brienne, she said I was probably at a level 2.
Let's explain those levels for those who aren't familiar.
Oh,
So we're describing the 4 stages of habituation. Stage 1 being the most intense, the most acute. Often the fight or flight system is on for lots of the day. But the goal here is to bring tinnitus down over time and to eventually get to stage 4 of the habituation, it's called. We can put that graphic on the screen right now as well that walks us through what are the symptoms and experiences during each of the stages. It often takes weeks to months to progress through the stages, but that's the goal with tinnitus treatment. Okay, so Dr. Brienne and you decided that you're at stage 2. So
two
what did you do?
borderline 3 is what she said. 2 borderline 3 because I'd had so many years of habituation, but I needed to really undo a lot of negative thoughts I had about it. And she definitely said I needed to start wearing maskers.
If you'd like to get help just like Linda on this podcast, you can head over to treblehealth.com or click the link right above my finger on the screen where you can schedule a free consultation with one of our specialists. We'll review your history, provide some options, hopefully get you a solution just like Linda. Now back to the podcast. What are those and how
My
did you
little
use them?
maskers right here, which I still have to wear for 1.5 more months. just to kind of, since I'm at stage 4 now, it's just to keep me there, lock me in there, and going forward. The maskers, I was shocked. I really wasn't quite sure what to make of them when I got them, and I thought, wow, I'm going to have hearing aids in. This is going to be weird. It was not. They're incredibly lightweight. I never noticed them in. They are so comfortable. And we worked with what noise worked best for me. Mine was the one that's usually used for musicians and singers because I also do singing on the side. I love that one. That was dead on perfect for me.
What did it do for you when you were listening to it during
Oh,
your day? Were you actively listening to it? Was it in the background? And how did that help you during the daytime?
it really helped to divert. So instead of going, wow, my ears are ringing again, why won't they go back to where they were? Instead, I had this supplement noise that would go, yeah, I know they're ringing, but you can hear this other noise too, you know? Why don't you try focusing on this really nice calming noise and don't be so mad about the tinnitus? So the maskers made a huge difference. And with it was funny that within a week I did notice that the frequency shot up in range and it got a little bit louder for like I think it was about a 2-day period, which Dr. Brianna told me that might happen. And then it came right back down. So that was again, she loaded me with a lot of information up front. She was excellent. And yeah, I can't say enough good about the maskers. They help so much with diverting because if not, you're struggling on your own trying to find something. I mean, it's a noise that's in your head. And here these maskers are going, yeah, don't listen to that anymore. Listen to this over here. And it's a calming noise. So it was quite nice. They made just a huge difference, absolutely huge difference. And I noticed it within a week of wearing them.
What did you notice exactly?
I noticed that I wasn't obsessing about the sound. I wasn't going, why is it there? Why is it there? Instead, I would go, yeah, I know you're there, but I'm going to go listen to this other noise instead because it's a lot nicer.
So how quickly did you experience relief? When did you experience relief, and what kind of experience was that for you?
I noticed it, like I said, within the first week, I had noticed. Actually, let's be more realistic. I would say within the first 2 weeks, I noticed that I was not focusing on it. I can't say that I noticed a huge volume difference, but I stopped focusing on it. I kept going away from it. And I know that's part of the program is to stop focusing on it because once you can do that, you can start getting relief. So that, and also Dr. Brianna told me, don't think negative thoughts when you get it. Don't be upset and say that stupid ringing. Instead go, yeah, the ringing's there. That's okay. I'm going to go do this instead. That really helped a lot. I didn't realize I had been doing negative thoughts until she pointed it out when I was describing it. I had not realized I had been doing that. I thought it was just grousing. And she's like, no, when you do that, you're setting up a groove that you're angry about this. And so you're going to obsess on it. That made a big difference as well, too. So I would say about 2 weeks is when I first noticed a difference that I wasn't focusing on it so much.
That's an important point that inadvertently you had been conditioning yourself and your subconscious brain that the sound of tinnitus is a perceived threat, it's a nuisance, something you don't want, you are putting a lot of attention to. And while I'm sure that's a annoying sound, and of course you don't want it there, shifting the language essentially or the words that you're choosing did something. So what did it do? What's your understanding of how exactly that worked, and what advice would you have for other people who want to try that?
I would say that you really need to take stock of how you're reacting to the noise. Your brain is an amazing little thing and it loves to get in a groove. But you can also kick it out of that groove if you just give it a moment. Don't obsess on it. Even if it's for a moment, like I said, I wasn't living there. I didn't have panic attacks. I wasn't feeling anything like that. I was just mad that it wasn't quiet like it used to be. And I didn't realize how much I was mad about it. I mean, just mad that that noise was there as if somehow I'd been singled out and like, oh yeah, you're going to have to put up with this now. I didn't realize how much I was honing in on that, and I needed to stop it. I needed to stop doing negative language and instead just treat it more like a frenemy. I know it's there. I don't like it, but that's okay. We're going to move on. We're going to go do something else, and we're just going to ignore it because I know it's not going to go away, but I'm going to learn to ignore it.
Sometimes when individuals might hear that, Linda, they might think, so you're just choosing to ignore the sound? I don't want to ignore it. I want a treatment. I want to reduce it. But at the same time, you explain that, what was once a 6 out of 10 during the day is now a 1 or a 2. So it seems like you simultaneously did ignore it and treat the tinnitus and reduce it. So how do we make sense of that?
Well, I do know that the brain has to have, brain does not like silence. It really doesn't like silence. It'll fill something in there, whether it's ringing or picking up on odd noises. It doesn't like silence. So if you have a way to cope with this, to put something else in its place, you won't be focusing on this loud ringing so much. The maskers made a massive difference. They said it was a tone in there, a consistent tone that allowed me to go over and listen to that and said this nice little pleasant tone that got me to stop going, yeah, but it's ringing. I need to focus on that ringing because I don't like it. I need to focus on it because I don't like it. And I'm like, why would you focus on anything you don't like? Stop it. Just stop that. And that's hard to do because it's habitual. I didn't realize I had habituated to grousing about my tinnitus. So yeah, if you can stop doing that and start being more positive, you will, in my opinion, have quicker, better results. It is hard because you just want it gone. You don't like it. It's annoying. And I know some people have it to the point where it intrudes with their daily activities. I was fortunate I did not have that, but I still didn't like it. And I just wanted it gone. And instead, I had to take a breath and go, you know what? Follow treatment. Listen to what they're saying so that you can move forward. Because if not, you're just going to go right back in that record groove. And then you're going to think that, see, this didn't work for me. You got to follow it and make sure that you're doing the regimen. Because if not, you're never going to get out of that rut.
I want to talk to you about the guide that you had, Dr. Brienne, helping you along the way, and also the first moments of improvement, of relief, or the breakthroughs along the way. So working with Dr. Brienne over time, doing appointments, part of it is the sound therapy treatment on the ears. The other part of it is that one-on-one coaching. What were those moments in your life, perhaps sleep or daytime, or you were able to do certain things, like you said earlier, hours passed, you didn't notice it. What were those moments along your journey that you realized, wow, I think I'm getting better?
The first time I noticed it, I think, was after the second meeting with Dr. Brienne, because we had talked about how I had noticed I had what I called little hills and valleys, which she said was quite normal, where you might have a brief moment of time where you have an uptick. Maybe your tinnitus gets a little louder or it gets a little higher. So that was a real common one to hear, is that it went a little higher. And mine did. And because she had told me that, I wasn't freaked out by it. I didn't think, oh my God, something's going wrong. I had things in place. She was like, this may happen. Stick to the routine and understand that this is normal. That means that synapsis is just stubborn. It's just stubborn. And eventually it'll break through. And when you do, you'll notice it come down. And I did. After, I would say, the second meeting with her, that would be about 3-4 weeks in. I was all of a sudden aware that I had noticed quite a bit of reduction, especially during the daytime. I wasn't quite back to where I was, but I was only like a month into it. But I did notice that yes, I wasn't focusing on it. It wasn't as obtrusive. It didn't seem as loud, and even at night, it didn't seem to roar quite as bad. It was still roaring, but not quite as bad. And the little sound machine you get in the package, that thing's perfect. I found the one in there out of the 32 or whatever sounds that are on there. Oh my gosh, I found the one that worked perfect for me at night. And it instantly helped me divert from my sound and helped me sleep without obsessing about it at all.
I have one of those sound machines you're
Yep.
referencing here, Treble Health sound machine that's included with the Tinnitus 180 program. So for those who might have a similar high quality sound machine, what advice would you have for them about how to fall asleep faster, how to stay asleep. What did you learn about how to get the most out of the sound machine there for tinnitus sound therapy?
I did experiment with the different ones that were in there to see what worked for me. Some of them got under my skin. I know crickets is very popular. It was gnawing at my skin. I did not like crickets. So I started playing with a couple different ones and just relax before bedtime. I would just kind of relax and go, what about this one? What about this? What about this pink noise one? I mean, there's a lot in there to listen to find what might work for you. And everybody's different what they're looking for. And I finally found the one that did. I think I want to say it's number 13. It was like pink noise with a waterfall or something. And that was the one that worked really well for me. It was right in my frequency because that's the other thing. I'm trying to sleep, and I have to be honest, I was looking something more to really block out that frequency. And it got close to it. And I found that, oh, okay, I can hear this instead. And this is perfectly fine because I know it's coming from a machine. It's man made. It's not my head. I can focus on that instead. That really helped. The sound machines really helped. I did not have to have it blaring. It was on my night table close to me in the right frequency. And I found that it was very lulling. It just kind of helped deaden that tone for me. Right. It was right in the frequency where my tinnitus was. And boy, does it help sleep. Big time it helps sleep. And if I
I love
woke up
that.
in the middle of the night for any reason, I went right back to sleep.
I love that. So how long did your treatment period take from when you first reached out to us for help until really where you are today?
Let's see, just a tick over 4 months.
Okay. And what would you say to someone who has a similar case of tinnitus where it seems like it's related to stress? There's not a major hearing loss going on. Their local ENT doctor wasn't able to provide a surgery or a medication to help them. Yeah, what would you say to that person? Because quite honestly, there's a lot of those listening who fall into that camp.
They do. And I know it can be very discouraging. And I'm not saying that all ENTs or all doctors are dismissive. I just think a lot of them are because they either that's not part of their practice or they're more hearing aid or hear some kind of damage related, ear damage related. I find that I hear that a friend of mine is doing the same thing. Her ENT just kind of dismissed her out of hand, saying, "Well, this is kind of something you just get a sound machine and try to ignore it." And I'm like, "No, there's got to be more than that because I do know that the brain needs to be retrained so it's not stuck in that nasty little groove." I would say to anybody that the fact that Treble Health has a trial period made a huge difference for me. Absolutely huge, because nobody wants to shell out money and go, well, great. I'm one of the 10% that this doesn't work on, or 1% or whatever that this doesn't work on. And now I truly feel hopeless. It's okay to try this and see, because I noticed effects within 2 weeks. I was shocked. I was kind of like, well, okay, they say it can take sometimes 6 months, but I'll be patient. I'll be patient. I was absolutely shocked that I noticed the results so quick. And even though I know I had been habituated for a very long time, I still had doubts. I'm kind of like, I don't know, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm stuck with this forever. This is going to suck. But yeah, you do need to explore this and see this, because a lot of it is things that you can learn. It's therapy that is for your brain so that you can get out of that groove. And it's also therapy for your personality, so to speak. There's just a lot there that you can have coping mechanisms in place instead of wringing your hands going, this is never going to end. This is awful. This is never going to end. It's awful. It does end. You just have to follow it, and you've got to be patient.
There's a lot of people out there that have tinnitus, millions of people who are, in a similar position as you were. And definitely the message that we want to share today is that there is something that they can do. Some of those things can be done on their own, right? With a high
Yeah.
quality sound machine, using it the right way, learning some tools and tips from this video, perhaps, getting a better system for sleep, potentially getting a hearing test and getting your hearing, resolved if you have any sort of hearing loss. Those things are great. And for those who need professional assistance, our team of audiologists are here. There are tinnitus experts out there. So whether it's your local tinnitus expert or via telehealth with a group like Treble Health, just want everyone to know that there is something that can be done, especially for those who might feel hopeless, like there isn't much for them. Linda, what are you excited about in your personal life now that tinnitus is a forgotten past part of your health and you're able to focus on more important things.
I do notice that if I'm doing downtime on my own, whether it's reading or just sitting out on the deck, I don't all of a sudden within a couple minutes go, oh my gosh, why is it ringing? I don't think about it at all. It is really very much in the background, very, very, very much in the background. And again, it helped to adopt the attitude of, well, it is a frenemy. I don't like it, but I don't have to be upset about it. I don't have to be obsessive about it. There are ways to go, no, 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 you need to shut up now. You need to be quiet. I'm going to do something else. And that's okay. I've come to terms with that of like, yeah, it's okay. I have this. It's not fun, but you know what? I've learned how to manage it pretty well so that it doesn't dominate my life. It does not define me.
That's why we're here to share stories like yours, Linda. Again, thank you for giving this hope and optimism. If you're listening here and this has been helpful, please comment below helpful, and we'll be able to respond to any questions you have. Linda, any final words here as you're wrapping up and you've shared a story of resilience and finding the right specialist to get a very niche treatment for ringing in the ears?
I would say that no matter what level you think you're at, whether it's you've just discovered it and it's horrible or you've put up with it for 30 years, there is a way to get help. You don't have to put up with it. You can find things that can be seriously helping. I can ignore my tinnitus so much better than I did 20 years ago. I feel like I've not only met my goal, but I've surpassed it. When I came in, I said, I just wanted to be back where I was, a year and a half ago. I'm way past that. I did not realize how much I had just not been progressing, that it had been creeping into my life and just kind of wreaking havoc. And now I'm like, wow, why didn't I do this sooner? And there's so much here at Treble Health to help. There's coaching sessions. There's a breadth of online videos that you can watch. There's all sorts of things that you can go in and say, wow, that pertains to me. It is not a one blanket fits all. It is like, no, this is you. We hear your story and we want to help you on your journey. And I love this. I felt like I almost got handheld through the whole thing.
Linda, your story is why Treble Health exists. So thank you so much and keep on doing the good work and keeping your health as a top priority in your life.
I am.
Amazing. All right, we'll talk soon. Thanks so
All
much.
right. Thank you.
Another inspiring success story. This time it was Linda, and she worked with our team at Treble Health. If you'd like to have a consultation with an expert from Treble Health, please click the link on the screen right here where you can book a free call today. Speak with one of our team members, discuss your case, ask us any questions you have, and we'll guide you through some options to help with your unique tinnitus. Hope to see you there, and thanks so much again for being here. This is Dr. Ben with Treble Health.